Aloha. Aloha. Almost said aloha kakayaka. It's not kakayaka right now. Folks, thank you again for watching Hawaii Kaka. And today's episode, we have a brother that I've actually known since I was a little kid. We were at church together when I think I was like 5 years old the first time I knew him. Kalani Mack. And I haven't seen him for a while, but then I got reacquainted when I was hanging out with his adopted brother, Dave Mack. And so after meeting again through him, we kind of stayed in connections here and there through mutual family relatives and whatnot. And I definitely wanted to get him on the show because him and his brother have this amazing business that they've been able to have a lot of success with. And I'm not going to give away too much because I know you're going to talk story about it. So I want to introduce you folks to my friend over here, Brother Kalani Mack. Brother, thank you so much for doing the show, man.
Appreciate Aloha, it. Gavon. Thank you so much. Like, seriously, thank you so much for taking the time out and letting us, share our mana'o a little bit and hopefully it resonates with some people out there. So yeah, we're glad to do it for sure.
I guarantee it will, brother. Mahalo. But yeah, if you don't mind just telling a little bit about yourself and what you do. Yeah.
Okay. Born and raised in Hawaii. I was like Gavon said, we grew up both sides of the Oahu. We started townside when I was a kid. Grew up going to Maimai Elementary School and Kawananakoa Intermediate and even Roosevelt High School for a little while. And then we moved to the other side of the island and ended up graduating from Castle High School back in '87. Go Knights. I gotta say, and I'll be completely honest. Wasn't the best student. In fact, I tell people I barely graduated because just being a local kid growing up in Hawaii. Mom was from the island of Kauai, and so she was the Hawaiian. My dad is Haole. Dad is actually from Utah. And he moved there to Hawaii and met Mom and never left. He didn't want to come back to the snow. So me and my brother Kimo were born there. And like I said, we made our way to the east side of the island and ended up graduating high school. And I wasn't the best student. Growing up, I struggled. I struggled in school. Even in elementary school, I didn't see the point. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't figure out why we gotta learn all this stuff. All I wanted to do was eat and go beach. That's all I wanted to do, and that's the only things that really mattered in my life. And that extended all the way through high school. I did take a few classes that I really enjoyed. I was involved with ROTC. So I did ROTC from Kawananakoa Intermediate and then into Roosevelt High School. And then when we moved to Kaneohe, to Castle High School, they didn't have ROTC. So I ended up not being in that program anymore. But I really enjoyed it. I don't know what it was. Maybe I liked getting yelled at like my Mara guys. Because man, ROTC, we got yelled at a lot. I don't know why. Everybody's just yelling all the time. I guess that's military. but we got yelled at, and I thrived in that. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed ROTC. I enjoyed the structure, I guess you could say. But somehow that never translated to schoolwork. I just never wanted to do homework. Once I was home, that was my time. There was no homework. Anything that was given from school or teachers that they gave you for homework, it's like, what? This is schoolwork. I do this at school, and so I just wasn't the best student. In fact, true story. This was the week of graduation. I was lacking a half a credit. I was failing. I was failing English, and you had to have English to graduate in Hawaii. And my teacher promised that she would give me a D plus or a D minus to get me to graduate if I came the Sunday before graduation and babysit her grandkids so she can correct Pippas. And so I went on a Sunday and babysit her grandkids. I was outside watching the kids and stuff. And me and my friend Tyson came with me, and we ended up graduating. And so a lot of people come up to me today, and I appreciate the love, but I just want to share that just to let you people in your audience know that we're not the smartest. Me and my brother, we're not the smartest people. Like, and we didn't go to college right after. I went to 2 semesters at BYU Hawaii because I had free seminary scholarship, and luckily met my wife over there. So that was a good thing. But I never went to school. I was closer to the North Shore, and so we were at the beach all the time. And so it's just pretty sad. I think about that, and I don't even know why my wife married me. I'm like, wow, what a loser. I was just a typical. I was just a typical local brother. Seriously, all I wanted to do was eat and go beach and sleep. That's it. That's all I wanted to do. That was life. But my parents, bless their hearts, they were pretty strict on us, and they made us work. We had a cleaning business when we were just kids, and my dad made us work this cleaning business, and it was kind of shame because when I got old enough, I understood that I was a janitor. Like I was literally like 12 years old, and I was a janitor, and I'm like, God, that's not the best job. But we was working, and that's what we did. So we never played sports, and we learned the value of hard work. And so that in and of itself, me and my brother did have. We can work. We can outwork anybody. Like we can go in and we can outcook anybody, or any job we get assigned to, we can do that. And we did it. We did it in high school. In fact, we worked for Zippies, worked for Kaneohe Zippies, and that was probably the start of our restaurant. Maybe the restaurant seeds that were planted is working for Zippies and holding things down and really learning the process of how a restaurant runs, how to make customers happy. And we excelled. We moved up in there. I started out washing dishes, pots and pans, and then we moved up to a fry cook, which was the front side where everybody just pick up their food and go. And then we worked up to the restaurant. And the restaurant, to be a restaurant cook was awesome because you had a different uniform back then. You had a white uniform and you had this big hat. And man, everybody wanted the white uniform because that was the guys that was cooking in the restaurant. We thought we were chefs or something. But I think we were far from that because we were just making the food. But I love that job. And I'm impressed that they felt comfortable letting 16, 17, 18-year-olds work in their restaurant and to handle, the restaurant food and to put out the product that Zippies did back then and still do. And I learned a lot of good lessons that we've carried into our business. So that's just a small snippet of where I came from and how we were raised. Again, raised with very strict parents, but not that we were that good, because we did a lot of bad things too. We cut a lot of school, man. We cut a lot of school. So I'm paying for that now in my older years, because now I gotta learn all these other things, and I gotta ask my kids how to do stuff and this and that. But it is what it is, and we are here today, and we just do the best we can. So if I can inspire somebody with with that background, then let's do it. I'm all in. I'm all in.
Oh, you definitely can inspire, bro. That's funny when you were talking about BYU Hawaii. I know for me personally, one of the reasons why I didn't want to go BYU Hawaii, because I felt I personally would get too tempted to not study.
It was tempting. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. and then you surround yourself with friends that are calling you out of class.
Right,
I'm
that makes it harder.
I just go, yeah. But it is what it is, and we learn from it. I can look back and we learn from it. So it's all good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my son just came home from a dinner appointment.
Oh.
No, he's okay. He's good. No, he just told me hi. What was I gonna ask you? Oh yeah, so I think I want to get right into it too. So if you
Sure.
don't know, Kalani is one of the owners and founders of Mobetta Steaks. It's a huge success that they had out there in the mainland. And if you don't mind talking about how it came to be, how you created this juggernaut that all of a sudden became it's a franchise now, right? Yeah.
No, it's still
okay.
Yeah, it's still corporate owned. Yeah. Yeah, corporate owned. So 2008, 2008, this was maybe the springtime of 2008. My brother Kimo and his family was still living in Kaneohe, and I had actually moved to Utah with my first two kids and my wife back in 1998. So we've been up here 10 years prior to my brother moving up here in 2008. And that's when we got together and started the restaurant. And we started out pretty much just knowing how to cook the food. We like that's all we figured. I mean, how hard can it be, right? You're gonna make food. We make food every night, and instead of selling it, we just eat it, right? So we thought, well, we make the food, and then we sell it. It cannot be that hard. And so we felt like Utah at the time, maybe it wasn't really a gripe. I don't want to say that it was a gripe, like we didn't have style food, but I just didn't know why it didn't taste like home. Like I didn't understand, and I thought maybe it's harder to get ingredients, or it just didn't taste exactly like home. And come to find out, there were some ingredients. Aloha shoyu was a little bit harder to get, and everybody cooks with aloha shoyu at home. And then people that start restaurants, sometimes they're not the first generation, like they're second or third generation, and so they're just cooking from what they learned from their mom and dad and this and that. And so sometimes, I don't know, I just wanted food that tasted to me more like home. And so we just wanted to make it simple. Kimo and I, like I said, we've worked at Zippy's and we know the Zippy's menu, but we didn't want to cook the Zippy's menu. That's too much food. And so when we started out in 2008, there was a trend going on in Hawaii, and you probably remember this, Gavon, the steak plate trend, when they were
the
stealing
$5 steak plates. Yeah.
Yeah, Blazing Steaks was one of the big ones. And these guys were selling steak plates, and it didn't even have macaroni salad on. It was like tossed salad and steak and rice, and super easy. And I thought, you know what we should do? We should do something like that. We should bring that to Utah. Just make it real simple. And that way, in my mind, I was processing maybe there's not going to be a lot of waste. And, it's just easy to make, and it's just like fast kind. And so we started with that. And that's when we started Mobetta Steaks. And we added teriyaki chicken and puleo style chicken just to kind of mix it up a little bit, because we figured, well, we want to eat chicken, so we added chicken. And so we kept it at the chicken and the steaks. Well, come to find out, later on, in a few years into the business, our chicken actually became the more popular item. And so maybe, I think when we were 3 years into the business, is when we kind of renamed the business. So now it's just Mobetta. It's just Mobetta's Hawaiian style food. And we dropped the steaks because our customers was like, we don't come in for the steaks, we come in for the chicken. So we should have been Mobetta chicken, but that was our bad. We we kind of hit the mark or missed the mark on that one. But our customers kind of named our restaurant because they would come in and kind of like Hawaii style. It was weird because we had haoles coming in, and we could hear them in the line saying, "Oh yeah, I'm so excited today. I'm gonna get my mobetas on." And this, oh, I'm getting mobetas today, or I'm taking mobetas to my girlfriend, or this and that. And me and Kimo are like, "Oh, these guys just like Hawaiians. They just like they're using pidgin, but they don't even know." And so we just thought, ah, man, everybody's calling it mobetas. We're just gonna be mobetas. And so today, yeah, today that name, but originally it was Mobetta Steaks, and that's when we started in 2008, which turned out to be a really bad time to start because we started in the summer of 2008, and that October is when the recession happened and everything slid in the toilet, and we were making like maybe $500 a day and literally sitting around twiddling our thumbs at times during those winter months. And there was a time right before Christmas that Kimo was like, wow, when do we cut our losses? You know, when do we just stop and just figure, well, we just throw in the towel and call it good and eat whatever leftover steak is in the fridge, and and close up shop, because it was so the recession happened, and it just everybody was hanging on to their money because everybody got scared and Christmas was tight and this and that. But that January, it seemed like that week after Christmas, things started chugging back, and it's never stopped since. And now we're growing leaps and bounds, and I can barely hang on. I don't know what we're supposed to do. The reason we keep going and doing what we're doing is we're trying to create more opportunities. And you talk about franchising there, down the road we could be maybe at a point that we could franchise, and I could see that happening. But right now everything is corporate owned, and everything is still chugging along, still trying to live the dream of it. But we like to call it, we spreading aloha. We like to spread the aloha and teach people about some of the foods we love, and we connect it to home, and we connect it to our beach lifestyle, and it's fun. It's actually really fun. It's fun to give people just a small slice of the Hawaii we grew up with as kids. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but it's busy. Keeps us really busy.
Oh yeah, man. I kicked myself because I was living in Utah for a little over 10 years. I moved out of Utah, moved to the Bay Area right in 2007. So I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
I missed out, and then it was crazy because a lot of people knew I lived in Utah for a long time, and so like Stivette, I see Stivette every once in a while. I should be like, "Hey, you've had Mobetta Steaks before?" I was like, "No, I never get a chance." That's like I got neglected, so I gotta go move back.
Just missed it. Yeah, you just gotta be Hawaiians to do it on Hawaiian time. We just take our time. I was here like 10 years. I was like, since 98, and took us like 10 years to open up on a restaurant.
Hey, better late than never, man.
Yeah.
That's cool though. But one day, no, seriously, because I get family in Utah, I gotta go visit, and I gotta go check out the you guys' restaurant, man. How many restaurants do you folks have now?
So we're in the middle of a spurt. That's why I was excited. You timed it perfect, because starting next week, we have openings happening every week, and so we're at 46 stores right now in 6 states, and we'll be at 50 the end of December. So our 50th store is going to be in Draper, Utah, and so we're excited. And it's pretty exciting to think that we're sharing, just a small piece of what we grew up on with all these people all over the place. I mean, literally, and we've been around since 2008. So there's literally a generation that grew up on terry chicken and Hawaiian Suns, Like it's crazy. And that's us, that's us when we grew up. And so and these are people that they don't live in Hawaii, but they know how to eat. And that's always been kind of our goal to teach people that I'm like, I would always tell our customers, I'm like, I know you guys going to Hawaii because all you haoles, you love Hawaii. And I said, go to Hawaii, respect Hawaii, love Hawaii, but don't go over there and eat McDonald's. I said, you gotta go, you're gonna go all the way to Hawaii and you're gonna eat at McDonald's or Burger. I'm like, man, you guys gotta learn to eat what the locals love. And this is how they eat. They eat plate lunch. And I said, you can find it everywhere. Go and spend your money there. Spend your money with those people. And I said, you will find some special gems. There's some good food there. And I promise you, when you come back from vacation, you're gonna have to go on a diet because there's some good food over there. Really good food in Hawaii. So
that's good.
That's always been, it's always been we always tell people, and we've had a lot of people, tourists, they go visit, and they go find the mom and pop. They go find these places. We send a lot of them because a lot of them are going down on the windward side. So we tell them, stop at Papa Ole's, stop over there, go eat over there. And I hope this doesn't get out. And then Papa Ole's is like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy. Getting us all busy, bro. We get all these holidays coming in over here. But we want them to. We want them to eat local and try local because, man, you're going to come back home. McDonald's will still be here. You can go McDonald's all you like. But when you go to Hawaii, partake of what's really special in Hawaii. And I believe that us local people, we have something very special that we can share with the world. And I would hope that others would, venture out and try. And that's, because I think the world needs that. The world needs more aloha. It really does. And if we can share our aloha, and I know it's hard because sometimes these guys, they just take, and we know that feeling, and it's hard. But it's like my grandpa used to always say, aloha is still more important. You should still aloha everybody. Still aloha. Even if they take from you, you still aloha because that's who you are. That's who we are as Hawaiians. And someday they will learn that, and they will see the wrong in their ways. They will. And they'll be like, oh man, I took advantage of that Hawaiian. It's like, yeah, bro, you did. But that's okay. We aloha. And that's because who we are. And that's we just honoring our culture and being true to that. So I try to think about that, and I try to think about what my grandpa says, and I appreciate people coming to eat with us and sharing in that aloha and learning a little bit more. Our restaurants, if I guess you haven't been in our restaurants, but our restaurants are very different. They're not tourist themed. In fact, our restaurants, we've just done a refresh in our restaurants, and they pull a more plantation feel. It feels very much like you're on the island of Kauai, because we spent a lot of time on Kauai. Our grandparents grew up in a plantation home, and we feel that that's what's important. That's really where the plate lunch came from, is the plantations. And whether we think good or bad about the whole plantation thing and this and that, the good thing that came out of it was the plate lunch. And man, we love it. I love sharing all these cultures, and I tell people, this is not Hawaiian food, this is Hawaiian style food. We pull from Chinese, we pull from Japanese, and everybody pitched in, and they shared their lunches and came up with the plate lunch. And I said, it's Hawaiian style. It was born in the islands. And it's because of all this aloha that these guys didn't even speak English. They didn't even speak each other's language, but they were sharing aloha because they were sharing their food with each other. And that's really where we hone in. We don't know the tourist side. We didn't grow up in Waikiki. We didn't grow up with hula dancing and all that. All we know is just the food side of it and the plate lunch and where it came from and how our aunties and uncles cooked and mom and so that's the part we share. So our restaurants are really different. A lot of people will come in and they'll say, "Oh, where's the hula girls and where's the plastic lays and stuff?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, we didn't grow up with that. We grew up with plantation style stuff. We grew up with surfboards. We grew up with all this kind of stuff, you know, in the ocean, and that's what's represented in the store. So hopefully that's what people feel, and it's been received really well. Once we explain to people, you know, then it's received really well, and even the other side of it too is they're like, "Oh, you guys are real Hawaiians." I'm like, "Well, real Hawaiians that grew up in the 70s and the 80s." I said, "We didn't grow up, you know, picking taro and stuff." I said, our family made salt on Kauai, but we never made salt. But I said, we come from that heritage, and we honor that heritage because those people were pioneers. Those people with us, they did all the hard stuff, right? We had the easy life, you know, so we got to reap the benefits of that. So we honor those cultures, and that's we're happy to do it. Happy to honor those cultures. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. But I really appreciate you sharing all these stories that of success and things that you had to go through. I know a little bit before we started recording the session that we had a talk story a little bit, and if you don't mind sharing some of the challenges you faced in your life, and then how you were able to overcome them, and some of the successes that you've had in your life, even if you don't mind sharing.
sure. And this will probably resonate with a few, if not yourself, with a few of your audience members as well, because I know I've talked about this quite a bit with a lot of people. And you know, Hawaii in the late 70s, early 80s, and I'm pretty sure it was happening even before and even now. There was a lot of bullying. I mean, you have a lot of different races trying to live together, and I certainly had my share of bullying when I was growing up. I was a fat kid. I was always fat. I don't ever remember being under 200 pounds. Like I was always fat. I like to eat, and with that came a lot of teasing. Like I got teased all the time, and that's a tough thing to go through. But I look back now as I'm an adult. I look back now, and you know, my dad, he was always there, but he was always truthful with me. And he says, you know, if these guys are bullying, he said, you either gotta face it, or you're gonna have to run away from it. And he said, I would rather you face it and, you know, do the best you can and try to resolve it, maybe become friends, and try to take it head on, and really see where the root of, you know, why people gotta tease you all the time and this and that. And that would always scare me. I would rather just run away. But I think I look back now, especially as a dad, and seeing my kids go through, you know, their own things and this and that. I can appreciate the toughness that brings, and yeah, at the time it was hard, but I think, and I know this is probably really unpopular because I talk about this with my wife all the time, and she's a teacher, and I tell her, I said, you know, I think a little bit of bullying might be good for some kids. And I know that's not a popular view right now in the world, but it really does help you negotiate some of the things, especially when you get into business, because business can be so unfriendly, and man, you can feel bullied, and you are bullied a lot of times. And if you don't have that thick skin, it can be really tough. It can be really tough. And so I'll give you an example. Before we so we in 2017 we've actually partnered with a group. At the time it was called Four Foods Group, and they own several other restaurant concepts, or were partners with these other concepts. And prior to that, everything was on me and Kimo. We were our real estate guys, we were our supply guys, we were the HDR department, we were the payroll department. We did everything. And that's hard. And that was super hard. And so to negotiate a real estate deal, man, we got beat up all the time. We had people tell us, you guys are too small. We don't know who you guys are, so we don't want to rent to you guys. Or, we'll rent to you guys, but it's going to be higher because we're taking a chance on you guys and this and that. But after we partnered with this group, this restaurant group that helped us, man, they swung a big bat. And those guys would go around, and now we had a little bit of credibility, and these guys couldn't bully us anymore because we had credibility. Now we were with a group that they knew the real estate, they knew where they wanted their restaurants to be, and so partnering was a really good thing. And a lot of people give us a hard time saying, man, why would you sell half your baby to just get these other guys? But they, there's only so much you can do, especially if you didn't go to school like we like there's only so much you can do until you need other people. And I think that's a good message for even people that aren't in business, for us brothers that are trying to get through life, trying to make ends meet. It's all about who you align yourself with, who's next to you, and who do you trust, and who are the people in your circle. And if I heard it one time, if you're the smartest guy in your friend circle, then you need to find another circle, because you shouldn't be the smartest guy in your circle. You should be always learning from the top guys, and you should always be helping the guys that need your help. So if you should be always kind of in the middle. And so we always tried to do that, and that's why we ended up partnering with a group, because we found out real quick at six stores that we weren't the smartest. We were the smartest guy in our circle, but that's all we could do. Was we couldn't do anything more, and we didn't know how to handle what we had. And so it was important to align ourselves with other people, and people that were smarter than us. And you know what? That's okay. As Hawaiians, we gotta be okay with that. It's sometimes we let pride come in, and we just like do them ourselves. No, we just do them ourselves. But sometimes we don't know everything, and it's okay to find out and align with people that know how to do stuff, and share. You can share with each other and learn from each other, and you excel together. Like you bring that tide up, right? So it's important to just share and understand where you are at and where other people are at, and align yourselves with those people. So that's what we did. And
that's awesome, man. I mean, you said so many good things when you were talking about the idea that it might be good to be bullied a little bit. I get what you mean, because no joke, because I watch TED Talks a lot,
Oh yeah.
And, yeah. I enjoy it. And there was this one TED Talk that they spoke about employers need to hire individuals or candidates that have grit, and in order for people to get that grit, they got to go through adversity. Yeah. So I get where you're coming from. Like sometimes that adversity will be very helpful. So my wife and I talk about that a lot too. Is like, we got to mitigate that, make sure that the kids have enough adversity so they develop, but not too much where it's like, they're just overwhelmed and stressed out and cannot move forward. Yeah. So I think that's,
we don't want people to get physically hurt. So if people are bullying and you're getting physically hurt, that's that's crossing the line already. That's
Yeah.
no good. I I remember I remember when I was younger, I I went to church one day and this old Japanese man asked me uh what I wanted to be when I grew up. And he was, I guess he had to be like 70 something, like he was an older guy. But I told him I wanted to be a pilot. And he was like, "Oh, a pilot. That's a good job. That's a good job. But you know, you gotta be skinny to be a pilot. You cannot be fat." And I didn't know that. I didn't know that a fat guy couldn't be a pilot. But at least in my young mind at the time, I was like, "Oh," and it just killed my all my dreams. And I remember going home to my parents and telling my mom what had happened, because she noticed I was a little down. and and I told her who it was and stuff, and I think he was like a high councilman in the church or something. And she was like, what he said? Yeah, why are you telling you that? And she just, man, she just got all mad. And I was like, whoa, I don't know. He said you cannot be fat. And then so I just had it in my mind. And that was kind of a sense of bullying, right? But it didn't hurt me physically. But I remember learning from that experience and thinking, you know what? My mom is right. If I wanted to be a pilot, I can go be a pilot because I can lose weight. You know what I mean? They let anybody fly, and apparently even ugly guys like me can fly. So it's not a thing that you're not ugly or whatever. But I learned from that, and so I know that a little bit of that adversity can go a long way. It really can. And we should, even as I was raising my kids, when they would fight and stuff, I let them fight a little bit. Until they start throwing blows, then I'm like, whoa, hey, stop. But you got to let them negotiate that, right? Because it teaches them something, and it's something that I feel is important, and especially in business, if you don't have that thick skin, and you cannot have people telling you, oh, your food is junk and this and that. People tell us all the time, oh, how come you guys don't make this, or how come you don't make that, or how come it's like this and this and that, or and I tell them, we only make it the way we want to make it, and if you don't like it, that's fine. Like, it's totally fine. You can go someplace else. But they get really hard, and they try and bully you a little bit, but as long as they don't swing at me, then it's all good. But I think a little bit of bullying is okay, and we should at least be strong enough to identify that and try and negotiate that. And I think that makes you a good business person. Yeah, for sure. And we learned that along the way, for sure. There's a lot of times we just wanted to throw in the towel and like, forget this. We don't want to do this anymore.
Good thing you never, man, because look where you guys at now. Gosh, bro.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. I had a question about you talked about eating, and hey, yeah, my boy, he's over there. Speaking of eating, I thought you was gonna eat. So I love to eat too, bro.
Yeah.
And I have this bad habit of eating late at night sometimes too. And the funny thing is this: ever since I was a kid, it was easy for me to drop weight. Even into my 30s, all I had to do was cut out rice and go to the gym at least 2-3 times a week and just lift weights, and I would drop the weight.
Drop the weight, yeah.
But I noticed, when right after I turned 40, I couldn't do that anymore. Like, I would do that same routine. I'd cut rice, and I go to the gym 3 times a week. The weight wasn't coming off.
Wait, no, come on.
Okay, what's going on? And so now, because my wife, because of her background being a doctor, she's like, yeah, one, you gotta sleep earlier. You gotta get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That helps. And then you gotta cut all these things out, of your diet and whatnot. And you gotta stop eating so late. That's the other thing. So all these, now I gotta do much more than what I'm used to, right? In order to do that. It's so hard. What they say, you gotta work twice as hard to look half as good. That's what I'm doing right now, right? Exactly. But you were talking about you having that struggle too, of like liking to eat. how were you able to deal with that now? From a kid to now, can you talk story about that too?
Sure. And it's a little bit. So I don't want to make it sound like this is the answer, but moving to the mainland really helped because you just don't eat like we do in Hawaii. Like there's the bakeries and just all these foods all over the place. So for me, moving to the mainland was a big help, and not having access to some of the foods and having to cook it all the time uh really helped. But I my diabetes was still really really bad, and I was always trying to control it. Luckily, I was able to control it by what I eat. So they never got to the point where they put me on insulin. Uh, but that is a struggle that local people, local men, especially. I mean, we love to eat, and eating is a really big part of our culture. And I mean, even us starting our restaurant, it's all built around bringing your families in and eating, like literally eating. But we do have to keep it in perspective and context and understand. I remember my dad always saying that we don't live to eat, we eat to live. And I used to hate when he said that because I was like, man, I live to eat. I love to eat all the time. And I mean, just eating is just super fun, and it's just, man, it just brings so much joy. But I started to look at eating uh because I started to look at eating kind of like a junkie, because you would hear dietitians or nurses or even doctors, they say sometimes we get addicted to food. And it is a hard cycle to break through, and especially for our Polynesian cultures. I mean, face it, we make some good food. There's just some really really good food out there. And if you know it takes everything we can to try and regulate that, or stop the eating. We eat till we're tired. We're not eating until we're full. But it can be done. But again, it takes some discipline, and it takes a little bit of work. And like you said, especially as we get older, it takes a little bit of work to get there and to do that. But we just have to keep chipping away at it and keep pointed in the right direction. Don't give up and throw your hands up and just be like, forget it. I'll just be fat all my life. And I know I've been there. I've thought about that so many times. But going through some heart problems, and for me, it was going through sciatica. Man, I went through sciatic pain twice, and I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get rid of this inflammation because it was killing me. And so sometimes it takes some of those things to give us the why that's strong enough to hang on and make some changes, right? So I think the key too is to find some people that you can align with. Like we were talking earlier, we try and align with somebody that's where you want to be, and try and align with that person and say, man, how did you do this, or how did you do that, or how did you lose weight, or what did you do? And I've been sharing a lot of that because I've been on a weight loss journey since last February. So been trying to do that. So I've been sharing, and I'm happy to share all of that, and we could talk about that on a whole nother different hour or whatever. But if anybody wants to message or get in touch with me, get in touch with me. I'll share with you about the fasting thing and what you can do to reverse your diabetes, because it can happen. I totally reversed my diabetes, so it's awesome. Yeah.
That's pretty cool when you talked about the intermittent fasting earlier and how
Yeah.
you were able to conquer diabetes with that, man.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, you can totally do it.
That's awesome. I definitely gonna have to look into that too. My dad was just talking about a few of his friends that have passed on, and some of them diabetes, dealing
Yeah.
with a lot of those issues, and it started to make me think about, me, my own personal health, and how I can be better too. So it's just funny how that timing is just perfect talking story with you about this. So yeah, it was
There
meant
was
to be.
there was actually and I'll share this with you.
Yeah.
There's actually I don't know if it's still on. It's on Disney Plus. And what's his name? The guy that plays Thor, Chris Hemsworth, does this series called Limitless. And in that series, he's literally looking into different ways of longevity. And the third episode in Limitless, in that series, is about fasting. And man, talk about falling down the rabbit hole, man. You start thinking about the science and everything. Fasting is amazing results. It can literally heal yourself. Yeah, that science is amazing.
Oh,
So
thanks, man. Yeah, we're gonna watch that for sure. It's
yeah,
Disney
yeah,
Plus.
you would love it. Yeah,
So I gotta ask you. This is the last question that I always ask everybody
sure.
on the show. Is there any advice or experience or things you want to share with any of our struggling Polynesian men, or just anybody that's struggling out there? What is some advice would you like to give them? Someone that you would like to share with them?
I think and this is gonna come this is coming from my heart because it's something that I know so well. I shared with you a little bit earlier. You know, I wasn't the best student, and I didn't really go to college. I went to a 2-year junior college a little bit later, and I did get an associate's degree, but I didn't really use it. It was in multimedia and computer graphics, and the most I did with it was I created our Mobetta's logo, and at least I did that, right? But I I know what it's like to feel uh like you're not worth something, or you just don't know where you fit in. Like you just don't know where you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to do. There was a time in my marriage, I struggled, and we went through a bankruptcy when we first moved to Utah. And man, those were some of the lowest times in my life. And my wife, luckily, she graduated from BYU, and she had a teacher's education degree, and so she was working. But man, I struggled. I just didn't know what my thing or what I was supposed to do. I did dabble in a few things. I learned. I went down to Arizona, and learned car audio. I always wanted to learn car audio, and I learned everything about car audio. I learned all the custom aspect of it. I could do all these things. I came back, I worked in it, but I just didn't make the money that that could support my family. And I just didn't feel that that's where I was supposed to be. I went to work for these other companies. I even worked at a taco joint for one. I just did whatever it took just to make ends meet. And so I know what it feels to be not where you think you're supposed to be. And I know everybody has that in the back of their head, that nagging feeling of, I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm supposed to be doing this, or I'm supposed to be doing that. And as the years go by, somehow that voice gets louder and louder. And so my advice would be is to align yourself and really really look inside yourself and really be honest with yourself and figure out what that is. Figure out at whatever cost it is. Like if you're doing something right now that just doesn't make you happy, start taking steps towards something that you feel would make you happy. And it might be little things. It might be just the next promotion, in the work you're doing. You see a job and you're like, man, I could do that. I could add to that. And start being that person. Start manifesting that in your life, and do whatever it takes. If you gotta, if you gotta learn how to talk better, or if you gotta cut your hair, or if you gotta remove a tattoo, or you gotta do something so that people will take you seriously, then do it. Just do it. Just really do it for yourself. Do it for yourself, and empower yourself, because you are the only one that can get you there. And when we started the restaurant, I didn't really believe that we could do it, but I was all in. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna do this, and whether it makes it or it fails, we're gonna do it together. And I'm gonna do it with my brother, and I'm gonna support him, and we're gonna do this together. And I remember our second location was in Salt Lake, downtown Salt Lake, and my mom was still alive back then. And we brought my mother there. She was sitting in there, and the first day we opened, people were coming in, and she was greeting people. And I remember her pulling me on the side just a little bit after lunch, and I said, "What's up, Mom? You need a drink or something?" And she's like, "No." And she looked at me with this really serious look, and she said, "I don't think this is gonna work." And I was like, "What? Mom, what do you mean it's not gonna work? This is our second location, and people are coming in." And she goes, "Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work," which is typical for Hawaiians and Polynesian families in general. Usually your mom and dad are the hardest on you. And it's one of two things. And this is what I gathered from that experience, that my mom was pretty protective of her boys. She didn't want to see us fail. And even though we had customers coming in, she wanted to let me know that I don't think this is going to work. Maybe you guys should go back to driving bus or doing whatever you guys did before. And you have to let that flow. You have to be a duck and let that water just flow off, because even when it's your own family, sometimes you have to get away from that toxicity and really focus in on what you want to be and what you're passionate about and what you want to do, and you'll get there. It might take a little while. It might take a few years. Like for us, we've been at this for 15 years now, and it might take a while. But you just keep at it. You just keep at it, because the longer you're at it, the better you get at it, the more you learn, and you don't make mistakes twice. You only make the mistake once. The next time you have knowledge now, you don't make the mistake again, and you become a better person. And that would be my advice. The other advice I would give is the advice that I got from my Hawaiian grandpa on Kauai. Aloha first. You aloha first, especially for local Hawaiian people. You aloha first. And aloha is always the right answer. It always is. Even if they're just going to take it. You aloha first. And then that's love. And that's our people. That's our culture. We aloha first. And so take that advice and do your best. I would tell people, you guys want to connect with me on Facebook or social media or whatever, and I can share some more stuff with you guys. But I really appreciate you, Gavan, for sharing this and having me on. I love talking about stuff like this and helping others. So it's all good. You better go feed your son.
Yeah. No, no, my wife feeding him right now. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go eat dinner with them. But Kalani, seriously, bro, I appreciate you doing this, man, because all of this manao that you're sharing is gonna help a lot of people, And then once this,
I hope so. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no guarantee, man. Because I talk story every once in a while with other Kanaka that are going through stuff too, and they need to hear this. Some of the stuff you said, I needed to hear too,
Yeah.
So really appreciate you, man. If people do want to check out your restaurants, yeah, what states are you in again?
Check us out on mobetas.com.
Okay.
And we are mostly in Utah. So we were started in Utah. So there's over 20 locations right in Utah. So if you're in Utah, guarantee you'll be close to one. Even if you're in St. George, we're in Oklahoma, There's a few stores in Oklahoma. There's a few stores in Kansas City. One store in Liberty, Missouri. We got stores in Dallas, in the Dallas area. Several stores out there, and we have stores up in Idaho as well. So look for us in those markets. We're actually, by the end of this year, we're gonna have 2 stores in Las Vegas. So we're actually going to the 9th Island as well. So yeah, we'll be down there, which I'm happy because we're gonna go to Zippy's too. So
Yeah, I know Zippy's open up. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, dude, I can just see you
So
guys making a killing in Vegas for
we're
obvious
excited.
reasons.
Yeah, we're excited to be down in Vegas. Be down there with all the 9th Island Hawaiians down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Oh, gonna have plenty, bro. No, but seriously, I appreciate you. I'm happy for you guys' success, bro. It's good to have.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time you talk to your dad and your sister, tell everybody we said hi.
Oh no, I will for sure, bro. And folks, don't forget to check him out. If you got to talk story with him about entrepreneurship, you can find Kalani Mack on Facebook or whatnot. But
Hit me up. We'll say hello. It might take me a while, but I'll get to you guys. Yeah, for sure.
much mahalo, brother, and much mahalo everybody for watching Holy Kaika too. So, peace.
Hello.